final thoughts going into this. I know we don't have a lot of time tonight in channel. I hope y'all not feeling rushed. But my guy, Raj, I want you to go ahead and give me your thoughts on this game. Both sides of the ball, kind of like a synopsis of how you see this game playing out and how this affects Wisconsin going for a win, lose, whatever, however the outcome is, what you expect it to be, and how it affects Wisconsin going forward throughout. Because after this week, you all start your conference schedule also, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be it's really interesting because right now our starting quarterback went down in week 1 for the 3rd straight year. We lose our starting quarterback early in the season. So that was Billy Edwards from Maryland. So backup quarterback Danny O'Neill, good couple of games so far. That's been really nice, and he's been a really pleasant surprise for us. So I do expect him to play pretty well. I expect we're going to struggle, like I mentioned, offensively because of the line. I hope we're going to try to run the ball for sure, set up play action potentially. We've got really good weapons on the outside. We started with a new offensive coordinator this year, Jeff Grimes, came in from Kansas. So he kind of took Wisconsin back to their identity, that power run game, but even with a modern twist. You're going to see a lot of misdirections. You're going to see some jet sweeps from Treshka Kahuna, wide receiver, Vinny Anthony. There's definitely going to be some creativity out there offensively to try to find ways to score against Alabama. Not going to be an easy thing. The real matchup for me to watch, though, is defensively. Can we stop Ty Simpson? If Ryan Williams plays, can we stop him? Can we stop the Alabama running game? At the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be a very great day for us. Like I said, we have some injuries. For me, it's important I'd rather rest those guys. Honestly, I hate to say conceding the loss, but Alabama's a better team than us. We're not going to beat Alabama. So I'd rather those guys get healthy for Maryland, which is next week. And then we've got a bye week. Then we go to Michigan. So it's going to be a very, very tough schedule beyond this. I do think the defense surprises Alabama a little bit. So my final score prediction is 31-13. I think that we cover the 20.5 point spread, but it's going to be hopefully what I always say is I would love it to be a 1-score game going into the 4th quarter, right? So we can put a little bit of pressure on Alabama. Look, the one thing is Alabama's got all the pressure in this game, right? There's no pressure on Wisconsin. After that Florida State performance, there's no doubt that all eyes are on Kalen DeBoer and all eyes are on Alabama. They have to perform well. We are expected not to win. So we can play a little bit loose. If we can keep it close, maybe there's a chance. But ultimately, I think we lose 31-13.
Okay. I like your analysis because I said the same thing. And I know a lot of people outside of Bama fan base and even in the Bama fan base, they want to give Ryan Williams this title of like the guy. And I understand excitement surrounding him. You see him make some amazing plays. But I'm a realist at this, especially for my wide receivers. And you may be surprised that I'm saying this live. But if you rock with my content, if you follow me, if you look at a lot of my takes, Ryan Williams is not the guy for me. I truly think because of what everybody else does around him, what Jalen Miro did last year around him, what Jam Miller did in certain spots of the game, in the passing game and in the run game, and then also Jeremy Bernard, who is the most consistent receiver over his time since being at Alabama, what he has done, I think that's what's created opportunities for Ryan Williams. And this year, when he's needed to be the guy, we've talked about this, he hasn't been coming through. And yes, we're only 2 weeks in. He's going into his sophomore slump year or whatever you want to call it. But I think this game, even if Ryan Williams is available, I think your problem is not going to be Ryan Williams. I look at the mismatches or the matchups between some of your corners and our receiver core. And we have a gentleman in Latsier Brooks that schematically where he lines up at is where your weakness is, your nickel corner spot. When we send out the dime sets, is your coordinator going to leave the base formation personnel out there and force your linebacker to get out and cover one of our slots? And if that's the case, I like our tight end matchup against your linebackers, and I definitely love our slot receiver matchups. You bring that 4th or 5th DB onto the field, what does that really look like for your defense? Does it get you out your wheelhouse? Do you have your secondary guys that run fit patch? Because once you get out past your first group guys, your 1A and 1B guys for those corner spots in the safety position, I think you're basically with red shirt and true freshmen, right? For the most part in your secondary as depth. So in a game like this where you're dealing with an experienced offensive line, you're going to need that impact pressure from your front. How aggressive they can go throughout 4 quarters, that's going to be a test. And with this Alabama offensive line starting to showcase that we have some depth, some rotational depth to where If this first group isn't working, we'll move one or two guys and see how this group rolls. That's going to be a problem for Wisconsin if they get into that situation. My final score going into this game, I said it the other day. I just feel like you, I don't feel like we dropped 50 this game. I don't feel like it's one of those type of games. But I do feel like this team, at the pace that we're performing at and the space that we're operating from, this is another one of those 48-9, 48-3, like defense shows up and shows out. Too many questions on your offense for me to really solidify. And like you said, is this a game where they really want to buy into a game plan and risk more injuries, knowing that you got a conference schedule coming up, knowing that you have a chance to get your quarterback back later in the season, knowing that you might have your center back this game? Do you really roll him out there? Not sure if he's 100%. So if those factors factor out to play for the future, this is a matchup that is favorable for Alabama in my eyes. So I go with a score of 42-9, 42-9 Alabama. Not giving up any touchdowns for the second week in a row. What about you, Jackson? Give me your thoughts.
I've got Alabama winning 38-17. You know, beat the spread by half a point.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like it's going to be featured on Scott Van Pelt's Bad Beats for sure.
For sure, man.
I feel like this game will be for some reason. So it's going to be funny.
Honestly, I don't think this a loss where this Wisconsin offense, if they showcase they could move the ball and this Alabama continues to be a solid red zone defense, dating all the way back to the last season. It was never the red zone defense for Alabama that struggled. It was just their open field tackling that let the big plays would get the defense. You didn't see them have a lot of opportunities in the red zone against them because everything was being scored outside the 40 for Alabama last year. But this is not a big play offense. I think Wisconsin is going to try to test them on the perimeter a couple times vertically, but that's not their bread and butter. We will see a physical game, which if Alabama shows up physical, this is going to get away from them. Raj, final thoughts, man, before we get off of this live here, man. Is like I said, I wish we can do a post-game show or something together. I feel like you got a lot more to say, my guy. But final thoughts on this game going into it. And then also let everybody know where they can follow you and support your content. I like the way you deliver your content. I like what you've been able to deliver here on the platform. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. But final thoughts, and then let everybody know where they can find you at, brother.
Yeah, first of all, final thought is you put a question up from Big Homie about who the center, will the center start to be playing this game? So Jake Renfro is our starting center. It's questionable right now. I've heard some things that says he might try to go play a little bit. I've heard that they're going to keep him out because of the next week's slate. So we'll see. That's TBD right now, but that would be a huge lift for us if we can find a way to get him to play. But yeah, I mean, final thoughts. First of all, thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. It's going to be, it's a game that we knew was coming, at the beginning of the season. We've seen it for a couple of years, and obviously losing our starting quarterback in the first week and then losing our starting center and losing our left tackle in spring just makes this game a lot harder than it needs to be. Alabama's a great team. We know that. What I want to see is us compete, hopefully, try to keep it close to our defense. That's the thing, the side of the ball we're really going to be watching. Can we do that? But hopefully it's a good game, and hopefully we don't get any more injuries when the Big Ten season starts. We can be ready to go. But yeah, like you can find me on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, the Bucky Report. Also, Locked on Badgers is where we do all of our post-game reaction stuff, because I'm a regular contributor on there. My co-host Ryan Herrings, he hosts that show. I just jump on there quite often, and then I host the Bucky Report with my good buddy Justin Jolka. So yeah, check us out there, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. And as always, man, I love when we have matchups like this, only because I'm one in the fan base and one that covers the team that a lot of people think I'm always making excuses for the coaching and trying to make Bama seem like there's no issues. I'm just a realist when it comes to it, and I love to talk with other realists who cover other teams, and I think we all can bounce those feelings off of each other. Like, as much as of a fan as I am, I have to look at my team for what it is, and I can't be one to come into this game and say that this will be another shutout. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was. This team is lit. There's been a fire lit under this Alabama roster, and I think, like you said, with all the injuries and the turmoil that Wisconsin is going through right now, contrary to popular belief, that's usually the perfect setup for an upset. The very time you expect the team to be down at its worst, you have a lot of players on the field that have nothing to lose. And in this NIL portal era, a good game against Bama, where you take Bama to the fourth quarter and you lose by 6 or you lose by 3 on a last minute drive, that Wisconsin team might be depleted in the portal after the season because of the type of numbers and the things that players showcase. That probably won't be starting after this game once you get a healthier roster. So we can see a bunch of relentless play from Wisconsin, and this thing could turn all of our predictions upside down. So that's why I love this aspect of it. And to get it on wax, man, like my pops used to say, get it on wax, let you know it's real. That way, when it's time to go back and replay it, can't nobody lie about what they said or what they thought. Everybody got to be accountable for what they said. So with that being said, I appreciate you again, Raj.